Welcome to Toffee TV, it's the match preview. Thanks to Ladbrokes, as always, our good friends at Ladbrokes. Chelsea, tough game, but you know what, oddly enough, I don't mind the home games. The away games, you think, oh, well, you know, whoever it is, you go, whoa. But at least at home, 8 in a row, few games to go. Obviously Chelsea have wobbled a little bit in the last few weeks, and you think, well, you know, at home, having a go with them with only a few weeks of the season left, you think, you know, there's a good chance here, there's a good chance to show everyone what's going on at the club, get a little bit of revenge for the 5-0 drubbing in October, and yeah, keep the run going.
Yeah, I'm quietly confident. I think if it was away, I would not be confident at all. But I think at Goodison, I've been confident about this game for a while, because I just think the players will be up for it. The crowd will obviously be up for it. Don't get me wrong, they're a top class side. You're saying a bit of a wobble. They've had 2 4-2s on the run. You know.
Yeah, but for them,
they did it
the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Palace beat them, and he looked a little bit. He lost at Man United, didn't he? But obviously beating Southampton 4-2 this week will have picked themselves back up. But it's that good as some
happy Reds in the other room there.
What are they happy for?
I don't know.
Lost their own to Palace. Weird. So you know, I'm confident that we can do it. It'll be a good game. I think we'll be a good test for them.
I do. I think we will be a good test for them, because I imagine there could be a couple of changes. Not anything drastic, but just not necessarily a reaction to what happened at West Ham. Just changes to unsettle them a little bit. We've seen them in recent games. They can score goals, but they've also been conceding goals. They'll always score goals. I mean, they've got a very, very good side. But I think you know, if we can, it'll all be about them. It'll all be the pressure. It'll all be about that on them. There'll be no real pressure on us at all. Obviously, we want to try. We still obviously trying to get 5th or 6th or whatever. But the pressure will all be on them. It'll all be about closing out the season, getting those remaining wins. And I think if we can just play with a little bit of confidence, because I mean, everyone will be saying this is a tough game for them. Everyone will probably be saying this is their toughest game in the run. They're running. You know, coming to Everton, 8 wins at home in a row. You know, haven't been beaten in the Premier League at home this year. So everyone will be like, this is the tricky one. This is the tricky one. Yeah. So it's for us. We can just try and play our game. And when we've had tough game, obviously Man City was the real last tough game. We had a plan. We changed it round a little bit because we knew we wouldn't have as much of the ball. And I'm sure Ronald Koeman will have a plan for Chelsea. I mean, whether it works is another thing. Obviously, a lot of things have got to go your way. But if it does work, then it'll be a really good pointer to next season.
But the gauntlet's down now, isn't it, for the players for next season? This is another marker. These are the best team in the land coming into Goodison. That, you know, we know how good these are. You know what I mean? You don't really have to talk them up too much when you look at the likes of Hazard and Costa. You know, Fabregas playing on Moses. You know, the names, they've got so many. Pedro, you know, Willian. There's absolutely loads of them, and they're a brilliant side. And to be honest, you know, if Spurs win at Palace, you know, we're filming this before that game, that lead could be cut right down again. You know, it could go the other way if Palace win. So they'll know what they've got to do. But for us, we just got to go out and do what we've been doing, get in that rhythm, attack them. You know, very unlike them, they've been conceding goals of late. Yeah. You know, Southampton scoring 2 goals against them. You know, they had 2 again the week at Tottenham. You know, the weekend in the semi, 2 the week before. So you know, the defence that's normally quite tight has been leaking goals, and I think don't forget how many goals we've scored, more goals than anybody. I think in 2017 comfortably as well. So at Goodison in particular, the way we fly forward, we can hurt these.
I think as well, you know, I think one of the reasons they've conceded the goals in the last few weeks, I think there's a little bit of fatigue kicking in there. You know, players, you know, are not as fit. What it looked like as well, I think when they went to Old Trafford, Alonso never played, did he? Or he had to change position.
He changed the position.
And it started a few few difficulties for them, and I think the other thing Man United did really well was they got pace up against them. They pressed them with a lot of pace, and I think that's another thing we're going to have to do. Obviously, it's going to cause problems the other way, but I think that's the way we play against them. I mean, obviously, the big worry for us, I think, is obviously Hazard's pace against our back two, because the way we've played in the last few weeks, they've done quite well. They've been...
but I just think we'll sit back, though. I think what we'll do is, I think we'll sit on the edge of our box and not give them the room to get in behind us. It might be one of them where we let them have a little bit more of the ball. Like, very similar to the City performance. Sit in, try and keep the, you know, the distance between the goalkeeper and the centre backs down to a minimum. You know what Costa's going to be doing. Hopefully Jags and Williams, you know, the two very experienced centre backs, they'll know how to mark him. Wind them up a little bit, like we did when we beat them in the cup last year. Get him wound up a little bit. Rom will play well, I guarantee you. Romelu Lukaku will have a stormer. But the crowd, it's at Goodison, it's his team that he wants to, you know, who he supports and all. You know, look at the cup, look at his performance in the cup against them last year. He done them on his own, didn't he? And I expect him to, given how poor he was at the weekend, I think he'll have a really good game. And I think, for me, in this one, I think what will be key will be who is alongside him, and that's why I think he'll make a change. I think the midfield's really important as well, because when we played them down there for the first 20 minutes, we were all right. It was all right, yeah.
And then we started seeing them, their midfield getting quite snappy and turning us around the midfield and catching Barry. Our midfield is going to have to be at it. You know,
different personnel though, isn't it?
No, but that's what I'm saying. They're going to have to be at it. They weren't at it last weekend. They're going to have to be at it from the start.
It's a different test again this weekend. This is a side who will. This is a team who will try and come on to us, and I think last week, you know, before the game and looking at it, and it didn't pan out like this because we were crap. But I think in the dressing room of 5-3 last week, he would have been saying, like, it's about us, get on the ball, dictate the play, you know, the pace of the game. We're playing against a team that's stubborn, but this week I think it'll be like, do your jobs. So we're almost everything else. It just becomes 1v1 battles, because this is like it's almost like a one-off game. They're a team that's looking like they're going to win the title, but it's in their hands, isn't it? They win all the games, the champions. So for us, it's about just closing that game down, closing the space down. It's not really about like getting Ross on the ball and dictating the play. It's about snapping in and winning tackles and pressing. Like when we beat Arsenal at home, very similar. You know, when we beat Manchester City, get in people's faces, cut the space down. The crowd, if you start hitting them, the crowd will carry you through. And then that you're hoping that, like Lukaku's qualities come to the fore. Maybe Tom Davis breaking from midfield, it'll be something that they don't pick up. Do you know what I mean? If they're making plans for Barkley and Lukaku, maybe it's Tom Davis to turn the game. So that kind of thing, and it's why I think we might see Enner Valencia.
And also I think the pressure, as we said before, the pressure will be off us, and I think because I still think we just drop below that level when we need to, when there's a real test, like not a real test in terms of
it's when we can grasp, when we can grab ourselves and put ourselves in that mix. We don't seem to be able to.
But it's almost like, you know, we go to West Ham, a team that you'd expected to beat, and we fall short. No one plays well, but in this game it'll be a case of you don't have to worry about anything today, lads. Go out there, play your game, do your jobs, like you've just said. Try and take your opportunities when they come. I think Chelsea are, I think the difference between Chelsea and everyone else is they're a no nonsense sort of team. They don't fall into the traps what other teams do. They do put that chance away, and if they don't put the first one away, they put the second one away. You know, you don't get as lucky with Chelsea as you do with other teams. I mean, when we played City, we beat them 4-0 obviously, but early on we rode our luck with a couple of things. You know, they had a couple of chances early on. There was the possibility of a penalty. Chelsea are not like that. If they get opportunities, they put you to the sword.
Chelsea don't wilt either. That's the best. That's why they're the best in the land. They don't panic. They don't. If you want to scrap, they will scrap with you. That's what they do. That's why they're a good side. They can mix everything. However, we're a very good side at home. So, you know, if we get beat, well, they're the champions, aren't they? If they beat us Sunday, they win the league for me. Because, like you said, this will be their biggest test. But it won't surprise me one little bit if we beat them, because we are a very good side at home.
Yeah.
And okay, with Seamus Coleman in and people like that, it'd be even better. But you know, we'll only have to defend, won't we? Holgate will only have to defend, and that's what it'll come down to.
I suppose as well, what'll be good is the test will be good. You know, to see, because we're coming to the last few weeks of the season. The manager is not going to be kidded by anything, you know what I mean? He's not going to be looking at the game going, if we're winning or anything, and thinking, oh, this is fantastic, I don't need to worry about buying new players or anything. That'll be good to see what the tests are. You know, if Holgate's got, you know, if he has got whoever up against him, if Hazard drops over that side, or you know, whoever's playing.
Well, Hazard plays off the left, so he's going to be man for man immediately, isn't he?
But obviously, they play with wing backs, so sometimes he might be a little bit more tucked in. Course, yeah. But you look at that and you think, well, if Holgate has a good game against him, you think, well, yeah, you know, you'll look at that and take that into consideration. Other areas of the park, say Valencia plays, you look at his performance and think, is he worth keeping hold of? You know, there's going to, I think it's the best test towards the end of the season to say, where do we, I mean, obviously they'll know where they're going to be looking to improve, he'll know that already, but maybe for the outsiders it'll be a good test. You know, Everton coming up against the champions elect, let's say, and are they a team to be feared next season? Yes, they've won 8 in a row at home, but are they a real team to be feared next season with people bringing in? And I like you've just been saying, that's where we've fallen short in the last few weeks. You look at West Ham last week, I see a few comments and people are saying, I thought you were supposed to be a decent side. You look at the derby, you've got Liverpool fans saying to us, I thought he was supposed to be good, I thought he was supposed to be good, I thought Barkley was having in great form, you know, and you can't relate to them what you've been watching week in and week out, because they see that performance and they go, well, they were crap, and you have to hold your hands up and go, well, in the game when it mattered, yes, they were crap. Yeah. I mean, they all matter, of course. At the end of the day, it's only 3 points, but in the big games, you know, at home this year, or certainly the back end of last season, Arsenal, Chelsea, you know, we've done the business. Even in other games, you know, Bournemouth, when it was second half, when we were up against the wall 3-2. Southampton, when it was 0-0 for so long. You know, there have been tests, but obviously this is going to be the big one with only a few games to go this season. So it's going to be interesting to see how, you know, players handle that pressure.
We've been handling it, I suppose, all the way along at home, haven't we? Because 1 win became 2, became 3, became 4, and then you're going, we never win like 4 home games on the run. Then it became 5, 6. Leicester came to town, 6 straight wins. They're going to cause you problems. We went behind in the game, having led, and still managed to recover from that. These are a different proposition, because they're a fantastic side, but they're not unbeatable. Crystal Palace went to Chelsea the other week and beat them when they were in great form, Palace, and they were. So it's going to be, we're not going to get loads of chances, so we're going to have to be very clinical in the game. Yeah. And that's key. And if we get in front, the crowd are massive in these games, because they drive the team on, don't they? They drive, it might influence a referee slightly, although it's John Moss, so that won't happen. And these are probably the least team to get affected by that. But you've just said it yourself. It's going to be a chance for us to look and go, are we good? You know, are we in the right direction? Are we going the right way? What additions will make us better? Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're going the right way. It's more. No, I mean for next. It's more to say with how far have we actually gone, more than anything, isn't it? But then again, you've also made a great point with the Koeman thing. Is that if we win, it doesn't mean right next season we're shoo-ins for top. It just means on that day we've won. And so even if we lose the game, it doesn't mean we've got no chance. It'd just be interesting to see how. I just think there's certain positions on the pitch which are. There's some that have gone. You know, listen, Jags and Williams could have the time of their lives in this game, would be brilliant. But they ain't going to be the starting partnership for next season. You wouldn't think. So that doesn't matter. But someone straight away springs to mind is Holgate. Opportunity for him to nail down the right back spot with obviously Seamus, who's back today, which is great. It's great to see he's back and starting swimming and all the rest of it. But he ain't going to be back till January, February at the earliest, I would say. So
Koeman will be looking and thinking, do I need a right back? I've got Holgate there, I've got Kenny.
Yeah.
He'll be looking at, or do I need to go out and buy a right back? Now, these are the games for me where Mason Holgate has got to play well. I'm not saying, you know, he's a good player, but he's a good player and he's been great and he's had most games he's been quite well, but he's got to play well in this game, like to say, I'm going to be starting right back next season.
He's got to put a marker down. He's got to put a marker down, like Tom Davies.
And that's up and down, by the way. That's
Tom
not
Davies
just defending.
Came in the side and has stayed in the side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's come in and he doesn't come in and just have a little cameo and then go back out. He came in and he's nailed down. He plays every week. Now, okay, he was withdrawn at half time last week, but that's no bad thing. He's played a lot of games where he's finished the match. So they've all got to do that though. Ross Barkley, he's had a terrible game last week, so he's got to do it this week. Lukaku, is he all that? Well, this is the game. And I know they're a bit further along in the development, of course they are, and they do perform most weeks, but I would say all of them, because
I think what's different about this game is though, because obviously the games we've just been talking about there, at Tottenham, White Hart Lane, Liverpool, they're the games where we were a little bit more expecting going into them because of the way we've been playing. And I'm not using an excuse, but you look at it and you go, well, we were away and we're not very good away. This is a game Sunday that you've got to get rid of all those excuses, because in those games we haven't really played, no one's really played that well, and as a collective we haven't played that well. Well, that excuse can't be there on Sunday. Yes, we're up against a better side, but will we turn up and play the same way we do every week? Or even if we don't play the same way, will we play an effective way that the manager wants? And I think that's a more interesting thing.
I think we will though, because I think there'll be a reaction from the performance. I mean, when we went down to Chelsea in October and we got a spanking, didn't we? And then I think we had Swansea at home the week later, and the next time we played, and we were going, there'll be a massive reaction. We've just been battered on the telly. These are crap Swansea, they're at the bottom, and they came down to Goodison and we were lucky to get a point. We didn't perform. Seamus Coleman got us out the shit at the end and we just didn't turn up, and it was like, oh right, we might have an issue here.
It was a reality
because
check.
We were flat. However, we've gone like that since Christmas, so yeah, we've hit a bump in the road, haven't we?
Sorry, just the image of you.
The image of me, what? Going like that? Why?
That you sitting there like that could launch 1,000 memes.
It might not. This is on page. Oh no, this is on.
You will win.
We've done quite well. Moving my hands on. We've done quite well since Christmas. Haven't we? We've gone in the right direction, and to me, we have answered a lot of the issues. But it's a mental thing for me away from home.
Yeah.
I think at home, because we've had big tests at home, we have, and we've passed them with flying colours. But away from home has been where the problem has been. But I think, like I said before, to me, it's just a one-off game. And you've got to go out and go.
Different kinds of tests as well. You go back to the last home game against Burnley, where obviously they had won an away game. And you're thinking,
and they get a penalty from nowhere, and you're
thinking, is that going to get right? Well, one player. Let's. You've mentioned them already, so I think it's important we speak about him. It's Romelu Lukaku. Dyer last week.
Yeah.
Wasn't that good the week before, but obviously had a better second half with Valencia. Now you mentioned already, you're probably going to be turned on for this game. Going to be turned up to 11. Because for him, I suppose, without sounding horrible, it's almost like it's almost like an audition for Conte, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, he didn't do anything down there.
Shop window, isn't it?
You know, it's a different manager to obviously who's been there in the past. It is going to be a bit of a shop window to him, because obviously the people say doesn't necessarily turn up in the big games. I mean, the stats don't exactly back that up, because he has scored goals in big games. But he is going to be probably, you'd think he would be fired up because it's his one. I know it's not the right way to talk about it, but it's his one big chance to impress Conte, isn't it? Who at the moment has a striker who's so combative and can score goals as well. He got to 50 Premier League goals in 67. I mean, that's incredible. But you know, he's a different kind of player to Lukaku, and the chances are he's going to lose that player in the summer.
Yeah,
as mad as that is, to go to bleeding China in £650,000 a week, which nice if you can get it. Like, you know what I mean? He'd probably be back in 2 years. Yeah. So this is his big audition, and I know that's not a nice way to approach it, but you know, maybe he's got that little bit of a fire in his belly. We can obviously we'll use that to our advantage, and then at the end of the game say, it doesn't matter, mate, you're not going anyway. So so we've got to make the most of that, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways you want him to be absolutely woeful and we win. Barkley being amazing and get 2. But well, listen, he is what he is, and he wants to do it. He wants to, for whatever reason, it seems like he wants to play for Chelsea at some stage again, because he feels as though he's got unfinished business, according to Didier Drogba, and we've heard that before, haven't we? And we have got to use that because he's an Everton player, so we've got to go and try and get the most out of him that we can. But everyone else has got to play the part as well, and if we're to beat Chelsea, we'll probably have to ride our luck a little bit, and everyone will have to perform to their peak levels, because these are a side that turn up most weeks, at home or away. You know, and they do very well.
It's weird, isn't it? Because weird's maybe not the right word, but when you go back to when Mourinho came in, you know, we talk about it all the time, mentality, changing the mentality. It's one of the reasons I wanted someone like Koeman in instead of Martinez, was the mentality, getting this winning mentality, getting the snideness in, which we've seen at times this season, and it's great. But it's weird with Chelsea, isn't it? The fact that they've gone through this era of football and they've got that, even though the managers have changed so often. Like, their philosophy is, as soon as the manager starts sort of dropping off, then you go and find the next big thing. But they've still got that horribleness, because you go back to that era of Terry, Lampard and Drogba, and they just always found a way to win games. You know, I remember we were on a great streak and we played them just after Christmas, and they came down and beat us 2-1. There was the one where Drogba hits that one from like 30 yards. Lampard does the same thing.
With 2-1 up in about 10 minutes left. And got
but they always find a way, and it's weird, isn't it? Because it's just like when you talk about clubs that have got, it's ingrained in them. Now this is like a thing that's been ingrained in them. It's weird because the players keep changing, the manager keeps changing. I mean, I know some of them are still there. Maybe it's the John Terry effect. Maybe he said he'll get the mum onto them or something. It's weird the way it stays. That they've got it running through the club that they'll win at all costs. And it's last season
they suck every last drop out of it, don't they? Of that snideness, don't they? And it works for them, to be fair.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it works for them.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just weird, isn't it? Because we talk about mentalities and having to change that mentality, but you wonder what does it get passed down? And it's almost like, you know, I don't even know how you're getting something out of that. I don't know. You must have watched the extended version of. I don't know.
I'm doing anything.
I've seen your face.
I think it must be. I think probably because Terry is there and he's no Johnny come lately, is he? He's just that. He's there with the party, isn't he? And
yeah.
No JT, no party. Yeah, but I think the thing is, they've also got some backroom staff that have been there as well, and it is ingrained in, and some of the players like Azpilicueta, he's been there a while as well, and Cale's been there for quite a while. So they have had that still.
It feels like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean the backroom staff. You're probably right about the backroom staff, but it just feels like
whatever.
I suppose the owner as well. I mean, I know he's like this quiet. Listen, you know, he sits there and he looks stupid as hell at times, but you don't get where he was without.
He never got where I am today.
Filling a few landfills full of. Yeah, I won't say anymore just in case, you know. You're rubbish. You're rubbish. You're burning off, and you start Gazprom. No, it's just something that is ingrained in them, and I suppose every club would love to have that whatever that is. You'd love it. Man United had it.
Mentality.
Man United had it under Ferguson. Liverpool had it.
years ago.
Till Souness became the manager, basically.
There was that winning mentality, and it's an expectancy that comes from the crowd as well. And we're kind of getting it at Goodison now, not at their level, but look at the difference a year ago to now. When you go to Goodison, you're going to Goodison Sunday. I wouldn't say expecting to win, but thinking we've got a good chance of winning here. You're going to those home games. Forget this game. In some of the other 8, when we faced adversity, we've kind of gone, we'll win this. These have it all the time because they're used to winning, and then the players have it, and then and the opposition then goes, these are good at winning.
I suppose it's, and I suppose what's good about that, or where that comes from, is obviously from winning trophies, and I suppose that's what Mourinho is great at, and that's why Mourinho always goes to a club and says, well, he has pretty much so far, get the League Cup. It starts because I was watching the semi-final. And I was watching, you know, they were playing Spurs, obviously, and they beat Spurs. Spurs were battling them at 2-2, like proper battling in the second half. They get a goal and then they get a fourth. And it dawned on me it was the same thing, because people were saying, you know, Spurs are going to have to win a trophy. And it was funny because I know it's not as long ago as, you know, they've won League Cups, a couple of League Cups, I think, since we won our FA Cup. But it's the same for them, isn't it? It's getting that first one. And you think of us, if Spurs get that first one, then they could, who knows where that'll take them. And it's the same with us. It's getting that first one. Chelsea have gone, like, you know, every other year getting one, and I suppose that is the thing as well.
It's winning mentality, and it's all around the club, and that's what it is. And your opposition, you can't underestimate as an opposition how you fear a team who's on a good run. It's why teams used to go down to Anfield and be beaten before they came out, and we've had a little bit of that this season. You look at Leicester the other week when it went 3-2, they had no belief they were going to get back in that. Burnley, when it went 2-1, no belief at all. And it's that, whereas last year everyone knew they were going to beat us, and they've had it on a magnified level, bringing trophy after trophy, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I suppose it's just about getting that first one and getting over the line and everything that goes with it. And I think the other thing about Sunday, just finally, is I think, we've said this before, the players have earned the right to not have an off day, by no means, but they've earned the right to play, you know, play well. And if they're beaten by a better side, let's just say, then the fans will appreciate that, because
as long as they listen, give it 100%, and see what happens at the end of it, because we have played so well at Goodison since the derby. Do you know what I mean? So I've got no issue with that. If we end up giving it everything we've got and they beat us on the day, they're about to win the title. So you'd have to go, they are better than us. You can't, we can sit here and go, we're a better side than these, but these are going to win the league. These are the best side in the country. We're the 6th best side in the country at the moment, and that's the way it is. We're improving. They're the top side. If they end up beating us, they end up beating us. That's the way it is. Sometimes teams are better than you for all your hand up.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it'll be an interesting. I'm not sure whether it'll be like the best game of football ever. I don't think
too much on it for them.
Yeah, I don't think it will be. I think it'll be very. They'll be very methodical about the way they do things on because they'll fear us. They'll fear us.
They'll have a bit of results might dictate it. Spurs could get turned over to Palace, and then they might go, you know what, a point's actually not that bad here, because the other 3 will waltz and we're still X amount of points ahead of Spurs or whatever, so you just don't know. No, you don't know.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments on this game. Obviously it's a very tough game, but will we have enough to get through? Obviously 8 Premier League wins on the spin at Goodison Park. Discount the away games. Not insistent. We'll be back next week. Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching Toffee TV. We'll see you later.